Today we're going to be diving the shipwreck of the Prins Willem V. This was a ocean-going Dutch freighter that sank in 1954.
It's just 3 miles out the main gap. It's easy to get to. It's great for all levels of divers.
Caribbean diving, warm water diving is a lot of fun, but you're not going to find what you will here. What you'll find on those is the colorful corals, the fish, all the marine life. What we have here is the shipwrecks. We have history. We have real, true history that tells a story about how these ships went down, how people lived, how things were done years ago.
Do you remember your first time diving at this wreck?
Actually, I do. I think it was the 9th dive I had ever done, and I was so excited to come see it. And I just remember vividly getting in the water, but as we dropped down the line, obviously we just saw nothing but the green water, and then all of a sudden, it just cleared up, and there's the shipwreck right in front of us. It was just such an awe-inspiring moment. From that minute forward, for myself personally, I knew wreck diving is what I wanted to do. That was it. It's an intact shipwreck, so it's not broken up, it's not in pieces, it's still completely intact. So when you drop down, it looks like a giant freighter. It was actually leaving the port of Milwaukee at night in October, and it saw 2 sets of lights. Thought it was 2 separate vessels, so it was going to cut in between to save time. Unfortunately, it was actually a tugboat towing an oil barge, and as it tried to cut in between, it actually caught the cable, and the oil barge spun around and punctured a huge hole in the side of the hull.
There's not much left now. It's been salvaged over the years, but you see the remains, some of the tables and things like that. You can obviously see where the guys probably worked and did their job back there.
Diving shipwrecks today is much different than it is in the past. In the past, it was all about salvaging the wrecks, taking whatever you could. You can't do that anymore. That's actually against the law. We're really focused a lot on preserving the shipwrecks and preserving what's on them as a historical site. You'll see some of the remains of probably not so much the cargo, but some of the different attempts from trying to raise it back to the surface. They actually did try and raise this vessel and refurbish it. Obviously, it never worked. It's kind of surreal to actually be touching a piece of history. It's almost like swimming through a haunted house, where you really get a chance to, you imagine the guys making their living here. After you get some additional training with the wreck diver certification and you're able to go inside the wreck, exploring that wheelhouse is really fantastic, because not only can you go through multiple levels in the wheelhouse, you can get down to the engine room.
Diving on Lake Michigan, I think, in my opinion, it's the best diving in the world.
The word's still getting out. We have people that come from around the world, and once they come here and try this diving, they're just floored.
We have shipwrecks that have been down for hundreds of years, some of them, and they're so well preserved out here in the Great Lakes due to the fresh water and the colder temperature that it really makes it enjoyable, and you can get back and see how some of these ships were sailed, hundreds of years ago.
You've got to come out to the Great Lakes and check it out. There are so many unique shipwrecks that we have that nobody knows about or hears about, but they're here and they're scattered all up and down our coast.